could I ask, do you want to do this again, or are you officially done now?
I don't know.
Sage, you took that as a real fight? I thought that shit was totally rigged.
I know it's fake.
That's in there. There's a dark chamber in his mind that he can open up.
Yeah.
And I think he's got it open. The question is, can his body move along with it?
It's the biggest fight of the century.
So the fight night of the year. No. The decade. No. The century. I might be gassing it a little bit, but one of the most hyped up fights of the year just took place. The baddest man on the planet, the man, the myth, the legend, Iron Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. They just partook in one of the most streamed sporting events in history, with 65 million live viewers tuned in on Netflix. But even with history made, this definitely left a disappointing result. People are saying that the fight was rigged and scripted, and they question the validity of everything.
I know it's fake. At this point in Mike's career, you know it was an easy thing for him. Throw money at him and say, hey, listen, you can't knock me out the first 3 rounds or you don't get paid. So if this man trained and went all through these blood clocks, obviously he's not gonna knock you out in the first 3 rounds because he wants to get paid.
Chalk up what I've done to the fights being rigged. Still, when he posts on his Instagram looking like a killer, hitting the shit out of the mitts, the top 5 comments are, if Jake wins this fight, it's completely rigged. And that used to bother me.
Right.
That used to bother me because I was like, no, I'm working so hard. Can't you fucking people see? But now I take it as a compliment because the human peon brain of the 99% can't even comprehend
Can't even get it.
how good I've gotten and what I'm accomplishing in this world.
But hey, I think we all got fooled when we seen Mike Tyson sparring and fighting, and we seen these training videos, and it was like, W promotion, W scam. We all expected a closer fight, to say the least. Because them first couple rounds, I was like, okay, Mike. And then shortly after, I started to realize, oh, this is a 60-year-old man versus a 27-year-old. And then I immediately lost all interest.
Incarnated, I was stargazing. Life goes on, I need her, my babies.
And I was hyping it up. Reality, I thought it was gonna be like 1 or 2 rounds. I didn't know that was like literally all Unk had. So round 3 comes around, and I'm just like, okay, this is where Jake might have won that one. Round 4, yeah, Jake won that one. Around 5 and after, I literally was like, okay, Jake Paul's just not trying to knock him out. I don't know how some of you guys think that Unk whole time could. No. Jake Paul, if he truly wanted to, could have knocked that nigga. Unk was gone.
I realized a lot of people never seen Mike Tyson fight before, so a lot of bad comments was being made. Niggas went out there with expectations like this was 86. I don't know why. Don't know. I ain't never seen a Mike Tyson fight before. Okay, Kosa.
Honestly, the Taylor versus Sereno fight, I hope I'm saying her last name right, was the real fight of the night, ending in another controversial win for Taylor. But the main event of the night was easily the most disappointing one of them all. But why? Why was this supposed to be the fight of the year? Did we get so caught up in the glory days of Mike's prime that we forgot how long it's been? We all wanted a redemption story from a man who's already accomplished so much. Maybe another opportunity to witness his greatness one more time live and defy the odds. But not only was Mike fighting Jake Paul, he was battling with another uphill journey, the fight with Father Time.
Mike Tyson down for the first time in his career. Mike Tyson hits the canvas. He's in big trouble.
Squabble up.
Iron Mike is established as one of the GOATs of boxing. Becoming the youngest to win a title at only 20 years old, he reigned as the undisputed heavyweight champion from 1987 to 1990, holding 3 different major belts at one time. In his overall record, he has 50 wins and only 6 losses, and 44 of his wins came by knockout. I don't think you heard me. I said out of his 50 wins, 44 of them were by knockout. When you hear the word knockout, Mike's name is almost synonymous. For a heavyweight, he was fast and agile, making it difficult for opponents to counter his attacks. And how could I forget? He had a hand made of iron and a punch from hell, making him feared in the ring. And one look at his resume proves he is one of the greats.
Exactly. Nigga, you're knocked out before you know it. Before you know it.
I woke up for some money.
So the fight didn't end in a knockout, but Mike might still feel the blow of losing. You see, Mike Tyson is considered one of the greatest boxers of all time. And although I'm way too young to have seen Mike in his glory days, in his heyday, his legacy is so impactful that you can still hear the stories of how lethal his strikes were and how powerful his blows were and how he bit a man's ear off. That's not the point. The point is, Mike Tyson accomplished everything that you would have wanted to. And even when he talks about other greats, you can sense the deep passion that he has for the sport. And when you receive that type of high from the money, the fame, and being worshipped by the fans, what does it do to your mental when you no longer can perform? When you're forced to look at a shell of who you used to be and admire your past as greatness. Mike did an interview with another legend in the sport, Sugar Ray Leonard, and they talk about the struggles after retiring.
No, listen, but we come from a world, even yourself, we come from a world where we look up to people, where we idolize people.
Yeah.
Who's ever in the name of the baddest fighter, the baddest drug dealer, the baddest killer, the baddest pretty boy, whatever. We look up to whatever they have that makes them who they are. We look up to that. So we come from a community of worshiping and want to be worshipped.
Mm-hmm.
And it never leaves. It stays in us till we die.
Yeah.
I know the art of fight. I know the art of war. That's all I ever studied. That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring. Because that's all I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for. And now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm nothing. I'm working on being the art of humbleness. Can you believe in me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss them. Because sometimes I feel like a bitch. Because I don't want that person to come out, because if he comes out, hell is coming with him.
What if I connect myself to a passion and spend years, maybe even decades, pursuing and achieving everything that I sought for, and it's still not enough? But I want to talk about what happens when you've spent the majority of your life chasing and you finally reach the top of the mountain. What happens next?
Because we are fighters, even outside the boxing ring. We get knocked down. We need a great corner. I use boxing as a metaphor, fighting as a metaphor.
It's estimated Mike got paid 20 million buckaroos for this fight. And I don't know anybody that would turn that down. Not even you. Yes, you typing, what about his legacy? He already stated he doesn't care about his legacy. And I'm not sure that this fight would have changed anything regardless. So I am one of the people that got sucked into the promotions and trailers and really bought into the hype. I'm too young to have really seen Mike Tyson and thought that this was a chance to really get a taste of who he was. Pause. But after this fight, I was left with such an anticlimactic feeling that my mind started to view this fight as a metaphor. On one side of the ring, we have Mike Tyson, a certified legend who may be closer to the end of his pursuit of passion and grasping to redeem and revive meaning in his life. And on the other side, we have a man with fire in his eyes, Jake Paul, who is also solidified in his own regard, but is peaking and pushing to validate his purpose and removing anybody in the way. We have two completely different people on two different sides of the spectrum coming together.
Right, so the question needs to be, what comes next? What can I do? What is my passion? Not where I can create the most value or generate the most revenue, but what is my next passion? When you find that next passion, then everything else will make sense. But that's the hardest part for us.
It's something about after these athletes retire that settling and enjoying the fruits of their labor just isn't good enough. Mentally, they're still trying to become the greatest, and physically, they're handicapped. I don't think this just applies to the Tom Bradys of the world. Even on Gil's Arena, Nick Young and Gil, They talk about the difficulty of retiring your body, but your mind is still going. We see it with all of these retired players going into commentary and starting these new podcasts. Hell, even Ice Cube has an entire league of retired players. To me, it's more than them just having or needing a source of income. I think it's a way for them to feed their hunger. And I don't think this is just with athletes. I think on a normal scale with normal people, they still struggle with these same things. When I was at Walmart, there was a man named Charles, and he had been there longer than I've been alive. And after multiple decades of being there, he finally decided to retire. And then, a couple months after retirement, he came back. It wasn't a financial issue or him needing more time for his 401k or whatever. He came back because of his wife nagging him the entire time. That didn't happen. And if Charles, if you ever discover YouTube, I'm kidding, that's a joke. But what he really said, and I quote, "I was bored." He had nothing to do all day. And I don't even think this is just an older people issue. When I was unemployed for a couple months, I had nothing to do. And even though I complained about the job, I low-key missed working. Now, I understand from a financial and even a physical point, but why is retirement taught to us when we first start working as our main goal if it ends up like this? It's spoke about as if we're set free once we retire, and we're physically free, but mentally we're still caged in. And I think this is because we've been working and fighting almost our whole lives. And I think people with this work mentality run into this wall. Mike Tyson, I think LeBron James, when he retires, will run into the same wall. And if Jake Paul is working long enough, he might still run into this same exact wall. What is the result when being at the peak of validation and the fall of redemption collide? What happens next?
Don't walk away from me.
Don't ever give up. I always say this, that to be a fighter, even outside the ring, because it's going to take a fight to make your life right.